Ever since its announcement, the Oculus Quest 2 has become quite the divisive VR headset, from people being understandably put off by the forced Facebook account and deceptively cheap price, while on the other hand, consumers were just excited to finally be able to jump into VR affordably. But no matter what you think of Facebook, you cannot deny the Quest 2's appeal to curious VR newbies and the impact it has made for pushing VR further into the mainstream. This was made abundantly clear after the Quest 2 quintupled the Quest 1's pre-order numbers. I can't tell you how surprised I was when I saw a Quest 2 in a Walmart for the first time. While part of me was ecstatic to see the thing I love so much being sold in an everyday department store, it also filled me with a sense of unease that Facebook was beginning to corner the hardware market. Now, these mixed feelings aside, was the Quest 2 worth the hype, and will it keep people invested in VR for the future? Hello, my name is Nyxie, and today I'll be answering all those questions and more. Now, starting off, I want to clarify my opinion as that of an Index user and longtime VR veteran ever since I first tried out phone VR in 2016. Since then, I've tried almost every major headset to come out, so I'd like to believe I have some knowledge when it comes to what the market expects in an HMD and what sets one apart from the rest. First off, of course, the price. The Quest 2 is the cheapest mainstream headset we've ever seen at only $299.99 for the base 64GB model. When most people saw this, they assumed it to be a sort of Quest Lite with inferior specs to the original in order to be a budget option to appeal further to the mainstream, as the Quest had just released a year and a half prior. However, as we started to learn more about the headset, we quickly understood this was not the case, and in fact the Quest 2 had marginally better specs and internals than the Quest 1, most surprisingly being the Snapdragon XR2 chip, which had double the CPU and GPU capacity of the Quest 1. It also boasted a 90Hz refresh rate and decent resolution bump from the dual 1440 by 1600 OLED panels on the Quest to a singular LCD panel with a nearly 4K resolution of 1832 by 1920, as well as slight tweaks to comfort. It also included some nice improvements to the audio solution and microphone, on top of being a very pleasing white to help it stand out from the competition. Now, I want to reiterate before I get into it that this is a $300 headset, so you should not be going into this review or looking to buy the Quest 2 and expecting Index quality. So, what is the headset like in action, and how does it hold up after a month of use? One of the first things I noticed, and that has stuck with me even after a month of fiddling, is light leak. This headset includes no flaps on the nose gap to block light and expects your nose to do everything. And unless you're working with a Squidward-sized schnoz, you will absolutely notice the light leak. But when you're not looking at that annoying little light strip, you'll notice how absolutely gorgeous the display on the Quest 2 is. Contrast and sharpness are great, colors look pretty good, if not a little muted compared to other headsets, and overall image quality is fantastic. But most importantly, Oculus has managed to finally virtually eliminate screen door effect on the lenses with their new panel design, making for an absolutely beautiful viewing experience. But I do want to note that the use of a single panel has one fatal flaw, and that is being able to see the edges of the panel. Now, I don't want this to scare you too much, as when you're focused on a game you will not be noticing it, but when you do, it becomes an immediate immersion killer, as it feels like you're just holding a phone very close to your face. On top of this is the disappointingly small 90-degree field of view. For comparison, every time I would swap directly from my Quest 2 to my Index, say when the admittedly small 2-hour battery on the Quest 2 went out, even when playing the exact same game, I found it looked much more expansive and immersive. That being entirely thanks to the Index's 135-degree field of view. And if I'm being honest, this right here is my number one gripe with the Quest 2. Oculus really missed the opportunity not bumping the FOV between the Quest 1 and 2, as in my opinion an incredible resolution is great and all, but if the FOV isn't there, the immersion isn't there. And that's not to say the Quest 2 isn't immersive, because it absolutely is at most times, it just isn't nearly as immersive as other options, even ones with lower resolution. Next, I want to talk about the comfort, and if I'm being completely honest, the difference in comfort between the Quest 1 and 2 is marginal at best. The Quest 2 sports an elastic headband that goes over and around your head, however with it being elastic, it does tend to squeeze a bit, causing discomfort in hot spots after an average play session. Now, I would just recommend you purchase a Pro strap for the headset, but those have since proven to be an absolute disaster, as they appear to be snapping left and right to the point Oculus has outright stopped selling them on their website. However, they were not pulled from store shelves. Moving on to the audio, it leaves a bit to be desired, but it's what you'd expect from two small speakers on either side of the headband in proximity to, but not in front of your ears. The mic, on the other hand, is very good and definitely impresses for the price. When it comes to VR, one of the most important aspects of any kit is tracking. If the tracking's no good, your experience will suffer with it, and I'm happy to say the tracking on the Quest 2 is incredibly good, even down to when the controllers are out of view of the four front-facing cameras. Now, I doubt I speak for everyone here, but comparing it to older inside-out tracking methods from Oculus, I found the Quest 2's tracking to be noticeably better than even the Oculus Rift S with its extra fifth upward-facing camera. When it comes to setting up your play space, the Quest 2 will actually remember where you put your previous play spaces based on the scenery, which is kind of frightening, but still useful as you won't have to reconfigure your play space every time you leave your room. Pass-through to see your surrounding works very well and allows you to see everything in front of you in grayscale. It's pretty fun to just walk around with the thing on in pass-through to confuse those around you or random passerbys in cars after you set the thing up in an empty parking lot for a test. But this is a portable VR solution, right? So how does it do performance-wise and with travel? Pretty good, actually. While there are some graphical downgrades in almost every game from Onward to Beat Saber, for example, lower fidelity in Onward, and with Beat Saber, blocks shrink out of existence when you fail instead of dissolving like on PC VR, but they're not substantial enough to warrant any genuine complaints whatsoever. And you have to remember, everything that is run on the Quest is run within the headset itself with the XR2 chip, which really shows its strengths here. In terms of portability, it is incredibly light at a measly 1.1 pounds, and it becomes super easy to take with you anywhere you go, which I really appreciate. And in this aspect, the flimsier headband actually comes in handy with portability, making the headset and controllers incredibly easy to plop in a backpack or bag and bring with you wherever you go. The controllers are also pretty decent, porting the upwards ring design from the Rift S instead of continuing with the Quest 1's approach. The controllers feel really nice in the hand, and worrying about losing the battery door is no longer an issue, for me at least. The button layout feels nice and all buttons are easily reachable. Hand straps, however, are a luxury I wish could have become more mainstream with VR controllers. However, there are free and paid alternatives to solve this. I personally do not recommend the rather scuffed, homemade method of using the wrist straps, as it does not hold your hand correctly and makes using the touch controller significantly worse. I did notice a few random button mapping differences between titles on the Quest and PC VR. For example, in Beat Saber, instead of pressing the B button to pause, it requires pressing the start button, which is not nearly as easy to quickly reach and press mid-song, which will more often than not cause you to miss a few blocks as you fiddle to find it. The controllers are very durable, as I was made well aware following an impromptu durability test after my friend held a hammer in front of me while I was playing Beat Saber and I did a full swing into it. But even after that ordeal, I struggled to even find the scuff mark. And while the build quality on the Quest 2 may be slightly lower than the Quest 1, it's still an incredibly sturdy headset and people should have no fear of it breaking in their bags while taking it around. Overall, the Quest 2 still works like a charm even after a month of heavy use and is an incredibly good buy for those who are wanting to get into VR for the first time and can't afford a more expensive PC VR headset or don't have a PC at all. Or alternatively, those who are already deep into VR and just want a mobile solution so that they can have even more VR in their lives, which was the boat I was in. Just as long as you're willing to make a deal with Zuck, which I completely understand can be a turnoff for some people, and they're absolutely justified in thinking that, but if you can get past that little detail, then the Quest 2 is an excellent buy that I believe will keep more and more people interested and invested in VR for years and years to come, as well as holding massive implications for VR going forwards. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope this helps some of you who are still on the fence about the Quest 2, or those who are waiting to see how it held up after a good amount of use. If you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like or subscribing, as that helps me a ton in reaching more people. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.